London is a sprawling, soot-stained masterpiece of a city that has spent the last 2,000 years stubbornly refusing to die. It is a massive, polyglot monster of a place that feels like 30 different villages held together by a shared love of queuing, expensive beer, and complaining about the weather. The vibe here isn't the effortless chic of Paris or the neon adrenaline of Tokyo. It's a specific brand of keep calm and carry on grit, mixed with an aggressive sense of humour and a deep-seated suspicion of anyone who talks too loudly on the tube. The imperial stride, from crowns to clockwork to get your bearings, start at Westminster Abbey. This is where the British store their monarchs, poets and scientists. It's a dense, Gothic forest of stone where every square inch is a monument to someone who thought they were very important. Just across the street is the Palace of Westminster, home to the Houses of Parliament. It's where British democracy happens, which usually involves grown men in suits, shouting order at each other. Attached to it is Big Ben, officially the Elizabeth Tower, the world's most famous clock. If you're lucky, you'll hear it chime. It's a sound that basically says, tea time is coming and the empire is gone, but we still have the clock. From there, walk across Westminster Bridge for the classic tourist shot, but don't linger. The crowds here move with the speed of tectonic plates. Head toward the London Eye. It's a giant bicycle wheel on the river that offers views of the sprawling grey majesty of the city. If you look east, you'll see the River Thames snaking toward the Tower of London. This is the city's grim, bloody heart. It's been a palace, a fortress, and a prison. Go for the crown jewels. Stay for the beefeaters telling you hilarious stories about who got their head chopped off in the courtyard. Cross the iconic Tower Bridge. No, it's not London Bridge, that's the boring concrete one further up, and head towards St. Paul's Cathedral. Christopher Wren's masterpiece survived the Blitz and still dominates the skyline with a dome that looks like a giant, defiant thumb. If you have the knees for it, climb to the Whispering Gallery. If you don't, just stand in the nave and feel small. The West End and beyond, the cultural hustle. Now, pivot toward the West End. This is London's answer to Broadway, but with more history and slightly more expensive gin. Start at Trafalgar Square, where Admiral Nelson sits on a very tall pole, guarded by 4 giant bronze lions that tourists insist on climbing despite the signs. To your north is the National Gallery, housing enough Da Vincis and Van Goghs to make your head spin. Walk through the neon chaos of Piccadilly Circus, London's tiny, polite version of Times Square, and head into Soho. This used to be the city's red light district. Now it's a hive of media offices, boutique coffee shops, and hidden basement bars. The vibe here is polished grime. It's where you go to see the cool London. Just a few blocks away is Covent Garden, a former fruit and veg market that is now a Theatreland hub filled with street performers, opera singers, and overpriced handmade soap. For a hit of pure British grandiosity, you have to walk down the mall to Buckingham Palace. Check if the flag is flying. If it is, the king is in, probably wondering why you're standing outside his fence. If you catch the changing of the guard, be prepared for a lot of fuzzy hats and precision marching. It's the ultimate expression of the British love for ceremony. The must-eat, from pie to posh. London's food scene used to be a global joke, boiled cabbage and sadness. Not anymore. Now, it's one of the most exciting culinary maps on earth. For the highly rated quintessential experience, you go to Borough Market under the railway arches near London Bridge. The vibe is gourmet chaos. You'll smell truffle oil, roasting pork, and artisanal coffee. The must-eat here is a grilled cheese sandwich from Capacassin or a donut from Bread Ahead. It's where the city's foodies go to worship at the altar of the calorie. If you want the highly reviewed posh experience, find a way into the Wolseley on Piccadilly. It's a converted car showroom that looks like a grand European cafe. It is the best place in the city for breakfast as performance art. Order the kedgeree or the full English. You'll be surrounded by actors, politicians, and people who look like they own several Shire horses. For the real soul of London, you have to eat curry. Head to Brick Lane in the East End. The vibe here is chai and graffiti. It's the heart of the Bengali community. You'll be hounded by touts promising you a free beer if you sit in their restaurant. Ignore them and find Dishoom near Shoreditch. It's a tribute to the Irani cafes of Bombay. The bacon naan roll is a religious experience, and the black dal is cooked for 24 hours until it's basically silk. Finally, for the highly rated gastropub experience, find the Eagle in Farringdon. They basically invented the concept of hub food that doesn't taste like cardboard. Order the steak sandwich and a pint of local bitter. This is the London that doesn't care about the tourists. The London of creaky wooden floors, loud conversation, and a refusal to turn the music up too high. The hidden pulse, parks and punks. London's secret weapon is its parks. Hyde Park is the giant green lung where people go to give speeches at Speaker's Corner or paddle on the Serpentine. But for the best vibe, head to Regent's Park and climb Primrose Hill. You get a view of the skyline that makes the city look like a toy. From there, walk down into Camden Town. This was the home of Amy Winehouse and the birthplace of British punk. The vibe now is alternative Disneyland. There are stalls selling leather jackets, incense and cybergoth boots. It's loud, it's messy, and it smells like hair dye and fried noodles. If you've exhausted the royal pageantry of the West End, it's time to head to the city. Not the whole metropolis, but the square mile. This is the ancient Roman core of Londinium, where the streets are still laid out in a medieval tangle that makes GPS cry. The vibe here is ancient wealth meets future ego. You'll be walking past a 12th century church ruin like St. Dunstan in the east, which looks like a set from The Last of Us, and then look up to see the walkie-talkie building looming over you like a glass tidal wave. The city is where the real power lives, and it shows in the architecture. You have the Bank of England, a windowless stone fortress that holds more gold than your imagination can handle, and the Royal Exchange, which looks like a Greek temple, but is actually where people go to buy watches that cost more than a house. The vertical garden, sky-high greenery. Since the British love a garden, but ran out of ground space in the financial district, they've started sticking them on top of skyscrapers. The highly rated favourite is the Sky Garden at the top of 20 Fenchurch Street. It's free, provided you book 3 weeks in advance like you're scheduling a kidney transplant. The vibe is Bond Villain's Conservatory. You're 35 stories up, surrounded by ferns and palm trees, looking down at the tiny, scurrying people below. If you can't get into the Sky Garden, walk over to the garden at 120. It's the newer, cooler sibling that doesn't require a ticket. It's an open-air rooftop with a 360-degree view of the city's most ridiculous skyscrapers, the Gherkin, the Cheese Grater, and the Scalpel. The names tell you everything you need to know about the British psyche. They see a £1 billion glass tower and name it after kitchen utensils. The East End, from grime to gallery. Just a short walk from the glass towers of the city, you hit Shoreditch. The vibe shift is violent. The suits disappear and are replaced by people wearing beanies in August, and thick-rimmed glasses they don't actually need. This is the creative engine of London. Start at Old Spitalfields Market. It's been a market since 1638, but now, instead of sheep, they sell vintage records, handmade jewellery, and street food that will ruin your shirt. The must-eat here is the bagel shop on Brick Lane, the one with the yellow sign. It's open 24 hours a day. Order the salt beef bagel with extra mustard and pickles. It is a dense, chewy, salty masterpiece that has been fueling the East End for generations. If you want something highly reviewed and modern, head to Brat at Climpson's Arch. They cook everything over an open fire, and the turbot is so famous it practically has its own agent. For a final dose of culture, find the Whitechapel Gallery. It's where Picasso's Guernica had its only British showing. Today, it's where you go to see the kind of art that makes you say, I could have done that, even though you definitely couldn't. The architecture of ego. The city and the Shard. We've already established that the square mile is a Roman labyrinth with a futuristic skyline, but you haven't truly seen London until you've stood at the base of the Shard. It is 310 metres of jagged glass that looks like it's trying to puncture the clouds. For a highly rated view that doesn't cost £30, you skip the observation deck and go to 8 at the Londinium, or one of the rooftop lounges in the city. From there, you can see the River Thames snaking past the Tower of London, looking like a dark, muddy ribbon holding the city together. If the glass towers feel too clinical, find the London Mithraeum Bloomberg space. It's a Roman temple to a mystery cult, discovered under a corporate office building. It is peak London, a billionaire's headquarters built directly on top of ancient ruins. The vibe is subterranean seance, and it reminds you that before this was a financial hub, it was a place of sacrifice. London is a city that will never be finished. It is a work in progress, a collection of contradictions that somehow make sense once you've had a pint in a 400-year-old pub. It's the mind the gap announcements, the red double-decker buses, and the way the city looks when the sun hits the limestone of the British Museum. It doesn't want your approval. It just wants you to keep moving.